a large, you can get some of this stuff I got here.
Oh, well, no better than that. That probably the shirt wouldn't get over my stomach. It'd be a belly shirt.
You sounding like me right now.
I ain't got time for all that. Got to be decent size here. All right, so here I am back again, Full Court Press, Coach Jay. I have a special guest, somebody I've known since I was able to walk, talk, and be able to spit a little bit of basketball. Coach Dion Bethea of Gray Collegiate Academy, 3-time state champion in a row, actually. He's three-peat. He's going to tell a little bit about himself, but I'm going to start him out like I start everybody out with the question of, tell me that first butt whooping you took as a coach that made you realize that you had to put in the work.
Man, the first butt whooping. Probably happened when I was coaching AAU. It was it was pretty bad. We played Nike Team Florida at the Peach Jam, and they had Jason Rich, Sasha Khan, and boy, them jokers came out, and they really stuck it to us. I was mad as all get out too, but we responded after that though. But that one, kind of stuck with me for a long time.
Yeah, Nike Team Florida is traditionally good, man. I've seen them with some athletes, and their girls' teams are good too.
Oh yeah, yeah. They got a good friend of mine, Tom Toppin. He ran that organization, and Tom did it for a long time. But they were good. I think Sasha Khan, after that game, he was like a top 25 kid in the country after that one.
Ron White said they destroyed us. He put destroyed us in capital letters.
Hey, and I wasn't a good coach, man. I mean, I sat there and did a lot of stuff with my guys, but that was a great lesson that I had to, definitely pick it up and get a whole lot better.
He said also them in Houston Hoops with Daniel Gibson, Tack Minor, and I guess Newbie Eby.
Boy, that one too at Boo Williams. That was a tough one, and we played them up at the Boo tournament, and I mean that kid was counting the blocks, and Daniel Gibson was making threes, and Tack was tough to keep out the paint. But man, those are some great days.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of motivation on that. I got Newbie Eby back because I used to play pickup with him a lot in the gym in California. Cat buckets. But he could play, though. He could play. I ain't going to take it from him, but I used to get that cat buckets. All right, so tell us about yourself a little bit. I know a lot of people watching do know who you are, but tell them where you got your start. I know you've been at Gray Academy, Gray Collegiate since the beginning when it was Gray Military School. Just tell us about your coaching journey and what made you get into coaching.
Well, I started in the Parks and Recreation at a very young age. And, from there, I started the Richland Ravens at the time. And, I had kids like Justin Allen and Mike Irby. So it was something I wanted to definitely be involved with and see how far we can take it, just from watching guys like Top Sports. A guy named Juan, he had like a lot of the best talent around. So it was something I definitely wanted to get into. So I ended up, with the Richland Ravens, and we started to get better every year. We picked up, Zan Frederick, Rashawn Dickey, Brandon Wallace, and it took off. So, we changed the name from the Richland Ravens to the South Carolina Ravens, and became a national named program in the country with a lot of the top kids in South Carolina. And then, from there, I coached 2 years over at Lower Richland High School under my, my high school coach, Carl Williams, rest in peace. But I was there as the JV coach and then varsity assistant, and I left there after 2 years, and I went to Dent Middle School. Dent Middle School, and I was there for a year with a good friend of mine, Ken Creech, and helped out, and just kind of wanted to do something else a little more, man. At the high school rankings. So I ended up going to Gray Military Academy, which was a post grad football program, but they wanted to start basketball. So he gave me an opportunity to come over and start that program and coach guys from like Travis Hammonds, Ed Stevens, EJ Eves, Tashawn Riley. Um, the list goes on. I mean, those were two great groups, the 2 years that I did that. And then, the same founder from Gray Military Academy, he opened up um, Great Collegiate Academy and asked me if I wanted to come over and be a part of that at the high school ranks. And, a lot of people know what post grad means. Sometimes, you know, you got programs where you got to sit there and pay, or, you have, different organizations involved where, kids get scholarships and stuff. So we didn't have that. And, I wanted to go somewhere where I didn't have to stress kids and families about making sure that they paid, to be in school. So, when he approached me about Great Collegiate Academy, I jumped on it in a heartbeat, man. And, this will be my 7th year coming up. Just got finished with my 6th year, and it's been great ever since, man.
So, who was your biggest influence in coaching, and who are your mentors still to this day?
My big influence was my uncle Mark Gerald. Rest in peace, man. He, my dad is from Mullen, South Carolina. So, every summer, he made it a point that I spent my summers in Mullins, with his side of the family. And, when I was down there, I spent a lot of time with my uncle, Ronald Lewis, and then my uncle, Mark Gerald. And, he was coaching. He's the head coach at Mullins High School. And, just watching him, man, and his craft and, how much he loved up on the community and the kids and, and how they loved him back. It was something I definitely wanted to do long term for myself. And then, Coach Williams, of course, he was another guy that influenced me, to want to be a coach as well. And my college coach, Pat Simon, who coached me at Allen University. So those three guys did a lot. They did a lot for me. Um, helping mold me to who I am today.
So let's talk about, because you did 2 years there, and then you did 2 years at Gray Military, and then you ended up at the Gray Collegiate part of the aspect. So talk about what it took to build culture and what you think it ultimately takes to build culture.
And like the first thing is you gotta have a great staff. My post grad staff, David Slaughter, he jumped on with me, very early, and Dave did a lot in helping mold Gray, and me and him took a lot of trips together, building that, helping build that program. I also had Derek Crawford, who's an assistant at Ridgeview. Like Derek Crawford was with us, and Swilly was with us for a little bit too. But we built everything on defense, just having that mental toughness, and playing, going out and playing the best. We played a lot of great talent in that post grad, and one of the biggest games, I never forget is when we played Fishburne. They had the kid Iverson who went to Memphis, and they were like a top 5 team in the country. And we on the road at their place, and we're playing them. And if you talk to any of my players, well, they'll tell you I don't play for ties, I play for wins. So it was a back and forth game, and it was a great game and very intense. And they took the lead, and they were up two, and it was something like 9 seconds left. So I called the timeout, and we got the basketball. And I told the kids in the huddle, I say, look, the kid Iverson, he hadn't been playing defense all night. I said, so let Travis, let's see what happened, and let Travis be the one that comes set the screen. So when they inbounds the ball, showing up, they put the Iverson kid on Travis, and Ed Stevenson had the basketball. Travis came up and set a real good screen, and then he pushed out to the wing and gave one head fake. The kid jump, and Travis made the three, man. And shoot, man, we celebrated all night, man.
Gotcha. So when you got back from post grad down to high school, talk about what your initial focus was in going now from being able to kind of go get your kids to now having to, deal with the high school league rules of kids moving in, and you kind of got to, and now you got to pick your own team, but your selection is not very big.
Well, I mean, great relationships, and once again, for me starting out at grade, it was based off of relationships from AAU basketball and prior relationships I had with some of the families. So the first 2 years for us, it was like kids coming in because they knew me, and then the families knew me. But then after those 2 years, it was kind of like, Khalil and Jalil was already related to me. And, my cousins wanted them to come over and play for me, and just happened that they were like best friends with, Juwan Garrett. So, we was fortunate enough to get those guys to help build it even more, and, give us a great starting point. And then, of course, when Jalik decided to come to Great Collegiate Academy, I really felt like it really took off even more because, like, we didn't have to go out and get any of those kids. They wanted to be part of something that was new, and something that could really be big here in South Carolina. And also too, like me and my staff, man, we real big on development. And those guys, they really bought into it, man, and they wanted to come over and be a part of it.
Let's talk philosophy a little bit. What is your offensive philosophy? What do you hang your hat on?
Man, I run a lot of like pro stuff, man. And when you talk to people that's been around me, like the languages and stuff that we use, from us running floppy sets. And Jamal, I know you know what a floppy set is.
I
You
do.
know, we run floppy sets. We run a lot of Iverson cuts, but at the same time too, man, everything for me is about spacing and matchups. It's so important because if you watch us play, the point guard is so important because he's got to sit there and he got to recognize what's the best matchup for us to win. And we use this in our practice all the time. Who's making winning plays? If you're sitting there and you turning the basketball over, you're not making a winning play. So we instilling in those kids that, look, let's make winning plays, and let's also make sure everybody have an understanding of how we want to play and play the game the right way. But we do a lot of slips, a lot of fades, and from a defensive standpoint, we switch everything. And a lot of times when you run into teams that don't have really good ball handlers and they try screen and roll, we just blitz it. We blitz it hard, because here, to me here, you don't see a lot of teams that's blitzing screens. You see a lot of teams that's either switching it or just hedge on it, just to get the matchup back to how it is.
So with your offense, would you say that your offense prepares kids for the next level because of the lingo? Because, that's when I got to Western Kentucky, I had to learn what a floppy screen was, what a fade screen was, what a curl screen was, what a double screen was. All that stuff becomes, blitz in the screen, ice in the screen, hedge in the screen. Would you say that you're using your terminology to prepare your kids for the next level?
Oh yeah, most definitely. And that's the ultimate goal. Like, when the kids come over to grade, they do have aspirations of playing at the next level. So it's our job to sit there and get them prepared. Not just from a physical standpoint. We got to get them prepared from a mental standpoint. And that's where watching film is so important because you might have, I guess, some programs out here that don't watch film, but the film when we sit there and we break it down, Coach Wallace, he does a great job of, chopping up like bad shots, for kids, good shots, who's not sitting there setting screens, things like that. Hold on one second. I got to grab some water.
All right. Supposed to have that with you anyway.
Hey, it's tough, man.
I'm drinking my Diet Coke, so you good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But, nah, they, like I said, the coaches that I have around me, they do a good job of getting that information to the kids, just making sure that they can see themselves on film. Because when you get to college, you know, um, it's some of the same conversations, and it's nothing like getting a call from a kid and he's sitting there saying, "Hey, coach, remember you was telling me I need to do X, Y, and Z." Well, that's what they telling you now. That's a great feeling, and it's good that we sitting there helping them and getting them prepared for that next level from a mental standpoint and physical standpoint.
So with that, let's go into you said standpoint. That leads me to another question that it's not quite on my list, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. Um, how important is the weight room in your program, and how important is the weight room in any program? Should kids be lifting? I have this thing that for me in a program, we're gonna lift 20. We're gonna lift year round. It's not gonna be when season comes, we're gonna stop. We're just gonna lift year round. So how important is the weight room?
I think the weight room is very important because if you sitting there, you just getting a little taste of it now. When you get to college, because you played at the college ranks, at a Division I school. So like what we telling them is, with the strength and conditioning coach we got, Corey Helms. When you go in there, just go in there with the mindset of getting better, and working hard, and and then that way, it can carry over to to the basketball court or football field, and a lot of times too, man. I'm real big on this with them. When we step outside these lines, or even if we had the Chick-fil-A Classic or something like that, and you got these out of town teams coming in here that take the weight room serious, now you see the big difference. You see a real big difference. But if you in there and you working your butt off, it'll start to show because now you finishing at the rim, you finishing over the top of somebody, things like that, man. But I think the weight room is very key. And if you have kids that's not taking it serious, it'll show. It'll show because they getting their ball still stolen all the time. They getting pushed around on the box. So like I really feel like they need to buy in and buy in at an early age because at the college level, you don't have no choice, or you can go home and give up that scholarship.
With that, let's talk practice a little bit. As far as practice planning goes, how much time do you allocate? Let's just say there's no games in a week. We're first week of practice. How much time do you allocate with your staff or by yourself just to set up one particular practice? Not no games, no nothing, not practice for the week, but one practice. Because we're limited with time, with 2.5, maybe 3 hours, depending on the time of day. So how long do you prepare for a practice?
Probably like an hour and a half. Because the last parts of practice anyway, like when we pretty much get done, it's more of the guys in there sitting there shooting free throws. Especially because we didn't do it so well this year. We had to, we really had to sit there and focus on free throws. But the first 15 minutes they stretching, want to make sure they get real loose. And then, right after that, we'll jump into like, some defensive slides. because once again, defense is very important for us. A little bit of shell, and then when we have all the coaches in the gym, we'll break up in individual groups, and in that way, the kids get an opportunity to sit there and get some post work done, and the guards get to get some shooting and some ball handling. And then right after that, we'll do some 2-on-2s, some 3-on-3s. Um, I'm not a real big fan of, having you know, uh, like 2 hour practices, and majority of the practice we doing 5-on-5, because like we can go hard in the individual drills, and we can go hard in the 3-on-3s, 2-on-2s. But when you're doing 5-on-5, man, a lot of times, you do have some hot dogging, and that really upsets me. And I got to sit there and I got to stop, or you got somebody not rebounding the basketball. But I like the individual stuff a whole lot better. So we do a lot of that. We go over sets, depending on who we playing that following week and the film that we watch. We might go over some of the stuff that they run, from an offensive defensive standpoint. But outside of that, we don't try to go over that hour and a half of practice.
So with that hour and a half, how long do you and your staff take to prepare for that hour and a half?
Man, you mean like before practice, or?
Like, okay, so let's just say me and you're on the same staff, and I call in a staff meeting, and we're going to talk about practice. How long is it going to take? Your practice is going to be an hour and a half. How long are you going to take to mentally prepare with your staff to create what you're going to do in that hour and a half practice plan? How long do you think is needed to prepare for that particular practice?
Well, like once again, I got the luxury of having a couple of head coaches, or guys that been head coaches, like Coach Dre and Coach Laurie. So, and then of course Brandon playing college and then playing in the NBA. I mean, it don't take us long, man. We just vibe. We sit there and we talk about it all day in our coaches chat about the things that we need to do to get better in practice. And then when we get over there, I have the practice sheet already done, and then we just go in there and we just follow it to a T. And then if it's something that we need to do, that maybe, something just popped up, like, Coach Drill want to throw another defensive drill in, then, we'll sit there and do that. But, it don't take us long, man. We get in and, get the stuff done, and then we out.
With individual workouts, you mentioned them. Is it important that your staff take a big emphasis and focus on individual skills and skill development in practice, or do you do the 4-man workouts, in the preseason and the postseason?
Well, I mean, it's a little different. Like this year we had, like the closer we got to the end of the season, we had 15 guys. So, we'll split them down, and you might have 8 post guys, and 7 guards. But we also flip flop them too, because we let some of those guys come down and get some guard work. I got a funny story for you, when you talk about the skill development. So at the beginning of the season, when college coaches was coming and watching us work out and practice, we had a big kid, Jaquez Schuler, and when they were down there doing post moves and stuff, I would take him with me with the guards, because the kid had a real good feel with passing the basketball. He could handle the basketball, push the basketball on the break. So I had him down there with me doing the guard stuff, and it was making him mad, because he was like, "Man, coach, what you got me down here for?" Well, you don't really have traditional bigs no more. It's always good to sit there and get better all the way across the board. So if we're sitting here doing ball handling stuff, it's only gonna help you get better. And then he started to understand it as we went on, and he started to get better at it. But I just think that when you talk about doing individual work, don't do stuff that's gonna make you comfortable, man. Because comfortable don't help you get better.
So as a coach, everybody has characteristics. They have things that about them that make them special. What are two characteristics that most people would say about Dion, the coach?
He's a hard worker, and he love his kids, man. Just being very passionate with them and loving up on them. I think that's two of the biggest things that will come up. Him being a hard worker and him being very passionate and loving of his kids from his AAU days, from the post grad and even now with me coaching high school basketball.
Do you run your program like a college program so that kids are definitely prepared for the next level?
I do. Yeah. We run it just like a college program. We hold those kids accountable, and we let them know from day one, like, it's a job. Because Jamal, if you sitting there and you don't show up at practice and you got your mom and dad calling me, that's a problem. you know so, like, if you can't make practice for whatever reason, you pick up the phone and you let one of the coaches know. And that way, we can know what's going on. But if you just don't show up, or your parent calling me, saying something, man, like, I got a problem with that. But we definitely hold them accountable in every way.
Oftentimes it's said that a team takes on the identity of the head coach. What is the identity of a great collegiate team coached by Dion Bethea?
Tough, scrappy, and definitely know how to play the game of basketball. Definitely have a real good understanding of how to play it. One of the things that I tell my guys too is this: don't just be an athlete. Because if I walk in the gym and I say, "Hey, yo, coach, Coach Brown, you got some real good athletes," you basically saying that. I'm basically saying that your kids can't think the game. I was like, nah, be a student of the game. You want them coming in and say, "Hey, look, Coach Brown, you got some players." I mean, you agree or you disagree?
I agree. I want my kids to be known as players. I don't want them to just be athletes, but I want them to be athletic though. I want them to be an athlete, but I want them to be a basketball player.
Yeah, and that's so important, man. So, I'm real big on that, man. I just want to make sure that the IQ is there, and everybody know, like, we're not gonna back down, because our coach not gonna back down, and he'll sit there and he'll play any and everybody. It don't matter.
If you're down two with about 30 seconds to go and you need a stop, what defense are you going to? Or let's just say you're down 4. What defense are you going to and why?
Now, hey, Jamal, repeat that again. I think
I said
when
if you're down 4 points with a minute left, what defense are you going to and why? If you know you need a stop, what defense are you going to?
Man, I'm gonna stick it out with the man, but I might scramble a little bit. If that ball go to that corner, man, we gonna trap the mess out of it and just make sure we protect that basket. Like whoever the best player is, we definitely want to make sure we deny him hard there. But if we can get the ball out of his hands and make some of them other guys make some decisions, man, that's what we that's what we gonna end up doing, trapping that basketball.
Now, vice versa, you're down 1 with the ball. With about 30 seconds left, what play you running to get a bucket?
Man. Hey, I'm going with straight flat screen at the top, but depending on who's on the floor, because if you got a guy who's been getting murdered all night, whoever he's guarding, I'm gonna make sure my best player got the basketball and that guy come up and set that screen. And it's gonna be a flat ball screen all the way at the top of the key. And he got a couple choices there, because we're gonna have our best shooter. He's gonna be over in the right corner. And whoever that guy is that that's setting that screen, he's not gonna roll to the rim. He's gonna pop because either our best player he's gonna get a layup because he's gonna blow by their weakest guy, or he's gonna kick it to one of those two shooters to win that game.
Finally, as you're aspiring to give, well, not finally, but I'm gonna ask this anyways. Um, if you're aspiring to give young coaches some information that is valuable to them as they're trying to get in this coaching game, what would you tell them?
I mean, relationships, man. Definitely get as many relationships as you can. Good relationships. It's going to be so important, and making sure that you sit there and you grind it out early, and then it can pay off for you later. But if you come into it now with your hand out, and you're expecting somebody to give you the world early, it's not gonna happen because you got other people around that's working just as hard. So you got to come in and you got to kind of prove yourself. Not stabbing nobody in the back. Being loyal. And that's why me and my staff been together for so long. They work hard and they very loyal and they got the same vision that I have. Helping kids get in college and wanting them to come back and spend some time with us and have some conversations about the good old days.
So I'm gonna ask you this question, and you gotta answer one, and you gotta tell me why. You don't have a choice. And yes, ultimately they go hand in hand. So does the coach make the player, or does the player make the coach, and why?
Well, yeah, me and you talked about this before. Even though I can't sit there and say like it's both, I think the coach put the kids in the best situation to be successful. And then also too, depending on what type of kid we got, of course, we got to be the ones that sit there and make the adjustments that not only help the kid, but then help the overall program be successful in wins and losses. So, I think it's a little bit of an edge that goes towards the coach, at this time for right now, since I can't say both. So, the coach right now.
So I'm gonna ask you the same question I asked my teammate earlier today, who's assistant at SMU. Who's the GOAT?
Oh, I mean, it's MJ, man.
Okay.
It's MJ. And I've been around LeBron. I was never around Kobe. I didn't have the luxury of meeting him. I was around KD. And I worked Jordan camp for 3 years out in Santa Barbara. But outside of Rick James, Michael Jordan got that Rick James glow. So when I first met him and he was walking across the court towards me, he was glowing, and I had a big Kool-Aid smile because at the time I was a big Magic Johnson fan. But seeing MJ and then like even watching this Last Dance stuff, man. Hopefully, a lot of kids picking up on his hard work and his commitment and what it means to win games.
In your opinion, could Kevin Durant and LeBron James take the beating night in and night out that Jordan took against the bad boys and still be as successful back in that day when hand checking was legal? You could knock your head off. You basically could fight without getting suspended or fined. It just is what it is.
And I think LeBron would be able to take it just because of his build. I mean LeBron's 6'9". Everybody say 6'8", man, but I sit next to that dude, man. He's 6'9" and he built like a tank. You know, um, I really feel like he would be able to take it. Same thing with KD. KD not built physically for it, but KD is mentally tough though. He a dog, and that's what I like. When you look at how they was talking about the Bulls early on when Detroit was beating on them, you know you know how people say, yo, weight room, son? Yo, they had to get in the weight room and they really had to, you know, get their bodies right to take that beat that they was giving out in Detroit.
What's one matchup next year that you're looking most forward to as being great playing who?
Man, it don't matter. You know, we'll sit there and play anybody, man. We got a great group returning, and like I said, man, they done bought in, you know, and they know it's expected. Our first 2 years, you know, not being eligible to compete, those guys laid down the groundwork, and then guys like Jalil, Khalil, Tommy, Ty Rivers, Juwan get like, and of course Big Mike, like those guys came in and they was like, look, coach, we gonna go ahead and get you two more. Y'all do the rest. So since that, man, we've been working hard and we're gonna continue to do that.
Got that, but you got your schedule made?
Yeah, we got the schedule made.
Who is
We
the
got
game that you're looking most forward to playing next year? Who is it on the schedule that you think it's gonna be like, all right, this is gonna be a good game?
Well, we'll see. Like some of those matchups and some of those events that we playing in, they haven't matched up the teams yet. They just we just put it down with the event and say it's to be announced. But um, you know, I mean, it's a couple games that I wouldn't mind playing. I mean, if that could answer it for you, that might not be on the schedule.
Okay, answer it that way.
Um, let's see. I love playing against Keenan. Coach Nars got a great group over there. Um, love playing against Ridgeview with Stoneman. He got a great group. But once again, we always play each other. So how about I throw somebody out there new that we hadn't played that I would like to play? Okay, let's see. Um, oh man, how about this? How about Dorman? How about Dorman? I mean that's where you was
I,
going at with.
I was
That's where
about
you was
to
going.
ask you, did you
Yeah,
want to play Dorman?
yeah, yeah. So we could play Dorman. Yeah, I might need to hit Thomas up, see if he got a game left, and then maybe we could play it at Clemson or something like that. Just to give have some real good fun with it.
It'll be nice to see that game in Wofford's arena.
Well, hey, you know what? Wofford got a nice arena too, and I'm down for it. Make it happen, man. Cause you know what, Jamal, I'm tired of everybody. It seems like everybody want to see certain matchups, and then they got their picks and stuff. Like especially from this past season.
Right.
But I guess if you go ahead and have some of these games early, then you don't have to have those discussions late. Like everybody get to play each other.
I just like to see it because as a basketball fan, coach, etc., I just want to see the best teams play the best teams. Not in any format either way, because I know you for known you forever. And I know Coach Ryan, but I just think it would be good for the championship program. They've won 4 in a row. You've won 3 in a row. I think the hype and the buzz behind the game will create a lot of interest, and then it'll put some people quiet, so they'll leave you alone, and they'll probably leave Dorman alone, and then everybody can just go be happy. I don't know, but I was just wondering. I like that, but I would like to see.
Because it was, I mean, like, and I would say this, like, we played them like it would have been Jawan's senior year. So when he left, like, we still didn't duck anybody. We still played against really, really good competition. And that's what it's about. I really feel like iron sharpens iron, so like, in those games against like those coaches that I named and, even Thomas Ryan, like these games only help all of us get better because all of us, were in different like 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, so like that only helps us and get us prepared for what's coming down the road a little bit later.
So in those tournaments that you're playing in, the events that you're playing in, what's a school that you might be matched up against that people don't know about?
We're going down to Tampa, man, and playing against a real good school down there. Mark Cooper, he's the best director of basketball operations guy in the South. So, Coop does our schedule. So I can't think of the name. Ladarian Jones played at Clemson, and then he transferred to Wyoming. But Ladarian is the assistant coach down there, and he's the one that invited us to come play like 2 games. And his team is coming off a state championship. So I'm looking forward to going down there. I mean, I love, stepping out of the state and seeing different types of basketball. And shout out to my brother, Steve Turner at Gonzaga. Jamal, he said he'll love to get on and talk some basketball with you, man. But, when Steve invited us up there, gave us an opportunity to play with a shot clock, and I thought that was amazing, and I'm hoping that, eventually, South Carolina catch up and get that shot clock.
Do you think all of high school basketball needs that shot clock? And yes, I'll talk to that coach anytime he wants to talk.
Yeah, I think it'll be great for basketball, man. Like, I'm not gonna say what game I was watching last night, and I'm talking about late last night, because all we got is time. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching this game last night, and I'm watching this team hold the ball against us for like 2 to 3 minutes, and it was kind of frustrating, that goes on, but having a shot clock, I think that it could really change the landscape here in South Carolina and make the basketball even better.
Do you think that shot clock is going to cause 20-point wins or 20-point losses to be more like 40 and 50-point losses and wins?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think you get a better game, because now you got to teach your guys to play fast and sit there and really sit down and guard somebody, But I think having it, I think the games would be a lot more closer. I mean, just my honest opinion.
Cool. Well, Coach, I appreciate it. I'm going to pull us off live here in a second. I thank everybody for tuning in. If you have any questions for Coach Dion Bethea and he can answer them any kind of way, drop them on this video. He will have this video on his page. It'll be on my page. If you can't get to him, I'll get him to him. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Hey, Jamal. Hey, Jamal. Hey, Jamal. Listen, I got to say one more thing while you're on Facebook, right? So here's the other thing. Also, too, man. Like when you ask, like, what our program and stuff like is, we always outfit it in all the best stuff. So we are a trendsetter. We're a trendsetter, and this. That's why you laughing. So we change it up, man, and I really get a lot of good comments from a lot of good people on that, man. They love, like, all the relationships that I have, that I bring to the program. So that's another great asset to have, at Great Collegiate Academy.
Thank you, sir.